So I meet up with these guys every couple of weeks. They ride every week. We meet at this little store. I don't even know the name of it, to be honest with you. They just call it the tienda, which means like the store. Holy crap. And we just hang out, and then we take off down this little, almost always go the same place to start. And this week's no exception. Down this dirt road, it's all chill. And we turn off into these mountains. And it's pretty wild. Today is no exception. So we're going up and trying to figure out, like, hey, where's the other half of the group? Whatever, they'll catch up. That's what, whenever you ride with a group, there's always a fair amount of waiting for people to catch up. And it doesn't even mean that they're slow or that they're not competent. All of these riders are perfectly competent riders. It's actually really awesome to ride with this group because every single one of them, no matter the bike they're on, they're all really good riders. And so we just take off. We're going to get to the top, and then we'll stop and wait for them. It's such a beautiful view. I had to stop, and I think the guy in front of me on the Husqvarna is doing the same thing. And there's crash number one for the day. Get it out of the way, right? I should have been leaning back, floating the front, doing all that stuff, but nah. Yeah, I was early in the day. I still hadn't really warmed up, to be honest. This is like probably less than 10 minutes into the ride, and just mistakes were made. It's hard to describe how actually steep this place is. You can kind of see to the left, but it's pretty gnarly stuff. And they use this as the national enduro route for Pueblo when they used to come to Pueblo. They don't anymore for reasons. But it's pretty fun. They kind of all stop. I think at this point there's 4 of us. The guy to the right there with the Yamaha, he's an older guy. I believe he's 50s or 60, like low 60s. He's an older guy. And it's pretty incredible to see him as capable as he is. They were kind of scared for me because I thought I was going to rock back, but I was probably at like 70 degrees. Anyways, now that you kind of get to here, you still have the rocks are really grippy, so you can kind of trust that they're grippy. But they have a little sheen of dust on them, so you just kind of got to put your weight and hope that the rear doesn't slide. Really low throttle through these sections. Just don't rev it out and send it, otherwise you'll end up falling back down the cliff. And as for always, the view once you get to the top is incredible. But here you have the view to the right, which is the city, and then the view to the left, which is just nature and gorgeous. Anyways, we had to go back down because someone had put up a razor wire and someone hit it, and they're okay, no worries. But it's wild to me how like this theme of putting up barbed wire and razor wire keeps occurring, and it's not. I don't think it's intentional. I don't think they're trying to harm the motorcycle riders. In that case, it may have been, but I doubt it. It's just what these people have to say, this is my land, please stop, like putting your crops in my land and stuff. Yeah, because that wasn't like across the trail, that was to the right of the trail. So anyways, it's not the first time. So we turn tail, we go back down, we go to a whole different area. It's about probably 5 minutes away. And with these hill climbs, they look so mellow, but these are proper hill climbs. You stand up, you're leaning forward, you're modulating. You can see my finger there on the clutch, just like waiting to have to do anything pop up. This is good stuff. I love hill climbs. I love going uphill. So I just love the sound of it. Everything about it, man. Hill climbs are great. Then we get to the top, and there's another hill climb, and I decided to stop and like let the guys go ahead, just because I want to get them on camera. It's cool to send them video, be like, hey, look I got you. These are all cool guys. And anyways, so back up, a little ledge, pop, go, there we go. And yeah, it's a hill climb. It's great. Here's real rocky and slippy, so your rear tire gets getting chewed up. That was another ledge. Doesn't look like a ledge. Everything looks kind of flat. I don't know how to film differently to express how the elevation changes and how big things are. It's really difficult. There's another ledge. I guess you can hear it. You can hear me clutch pop. But yeah, it's just cool to ride with a group of guys that just all have no problems doing these things, and they know where they are. But what goes up must come down, right? Like a bunch of hill climbs, you got to go down. And I suck at downhill. I just suck at downhill, especially technical downhill. I really need to practice that more. I think there's a big combination of fear and a lack of skill. And if you have fear, you're less likely to practice, so you're less likely to build the skill up. So I definitely learn going downhill quick from racing, because when in racing you either go or you get ran into, and that's kind of like it's your fault, you didn't go fast enough. And that's how I see it, so that helps. But I don't do a lot of technical downhill like this in racing, but I'll practice it. I'll get better at it. Anyways, it just kind of like, it never ends, man. These guys know so many routes out here. It's incredible. Whenever we stop at a store, they're talking to the people, getting more knowledge. They just know so much. Anyways, that bike in front of me is I think it's a 90s Yamaha DT 2-stroke. It's like a 175 or something like that. And this freaking dude just gets up everything. Yeah, it's pretty wild. Here he is again. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to go to the left. And he says, nah, no problem, man. It's pretty wild. He built that bike from scratch. He's changed out the brakes in the rear. He's changed out the rear hubs. I think the front hubs as well. That bike is incredible. Maybe I'll do a whole video on that. So I'm starting to notice at this point that the bike isn't performing the way I'm used to. It's not. It's acting really hot. And sadly, I know what a hot engine feels like. You can see there's a lot of dust on the lens. I'm sorry, guys. I just wasn't thinking about keeping my camera clean. And yeah, it gets real dusty. So I think this is about the time. I'm pretty sure right about now I'm like, whoa, something's wrong. I gotta stop. Yeah. Here it is. So I'm thinking at this point maybe it's just overheated. This has been a pretty technical ride, so it wouldn't be surprising if that was the case. But yeah, the radiators are boiling hot. So I need to take a moment. I know that. That's just what you do. If bike's overheating, first thing you do is stop and wait. Trying to get some of my water and just spray it onto the radiators. I don't think it's blown. That's a good way to cool it off. It got real hot, so I stopped right in time. So the bike was like turning on and then turning off immediately. It was just too hot. It was overheated, and I needed to wait. And it's really hard for me to sit there and wait for more than like 30 seconds. I did sit and wait. I cut it out because this is like a 5-hour ride that I cut down to, what is this, less than 11 minutes. So let's cut that out. So now I know I'm limping an overheated bike up the mountain, because that's where everyone is, and I either go back down the mountain to the road by myself and try and hope I have reception, or I get up there and try and get some water from those guys. And I went with plan number 2. I get to this spot and I don't know left, right, so I just stop and yell, and then I hear them yell back, and I go to the right, and that's the correct way. It's still technical. It's not like because my bike is damaged that I can just, that the terrain gets easier. That'd be so sweet, right? Like, oh man, having a problem, mountains, please be smoother. No, it's, if you have a problem out here, you have to deal with it then and there, or you leave the bike, and that's not going to happen. And because you have to get the bike to the road. That's all there is to it. And I'm very concerned now that the bike is going to overheat and seize, which I've done and I don't want to do again, because I have a race coming up. I don't want to have any major issues because finding parts and, you know, the whole shebang. So I finally get to the guys. It wasn't super far, but it's very technical, and I'm able to say, "Hey guys, I need water." And I think they think originally, because my language, there's the language barrier, my Spanish is so bad, they think that I'm saying I personally need water, and I don't know how to say my bike needs water. But I finally get the message across, and it takes all of this thing. This is like a 2 liter or 1.5 liter. I don't know. It's a good amount of water, and it just takes it all. So that's not a good sign, obviously. And it's super hot. It's boiling the water the second it gets into the radiators, as you can see. Anyways, I get all that water in there, and I get going again, and it's doing the same thing. It's having the same issues. So I realize as I look down and under, you can't really see it. It's leaking through the head studs, which is not good. But yeah, so anyways, I actually take the bike back apart at this point to try and find the problem. and I realized that, yeah, the studs that are holding the heads on, the water's just coming right out. It's coming right out through the actual stud, like going up through the stud shaft and out through the top of the head. So the water isn't being held in the way it should be. It's pretty bad. So I'm like, okay, take the bike apart, not all the way apart. I get the gas tank, the seat off, and then I limp it back to the guys and say, hey, I'm done. And what's wild about these guys is that instead of just being like, all right, peace, you know, we're gonna keep riding, they make sure that I get to a highway where my wife can come get me in the car, and they wait for me to get in the car. It's pretty wild. It was a great day, and what a group of guys, what legends. So definitely you'll be seeing more of them. Well, anyways, I get the bike back home and trying to figure out the problem. It actually took me a little bit longer than I'm kind of surprised how long it took me to find the problem. I thought it was just gonna be like the seal, the O-rings for the top of the head to the cylinder, and so I replaced those, and of course it was like, oh, you're good, and everything was working. But I noticed when I put it on that one of the head studs like didn't tighten up properly, and this isn't the first time I've had that issue. The cylinder is made out of friggin' butter on these bikes. So it turns out that the rightmost head stud was stripped and it wasn't able to tighten up properly, and so I had to fix that, which is super fun. New head stud. Anyways, that's what ended the ride. I got it fixed and I'm ready to race. So if you like this general storytelling vibe that I've got going on for this video, let me know, and I'll try and do more of them, because they do require a little bit more work than my short clips. So anyways, thanks for watching.